Welcome to Review Rewind, the show where a couple of friends watch movies of old and aim to figure out if the reviewers were spot on or a little off. I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm Tristan.
And this week, we are talking about dun, 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 dun. It's Mission Impossible. Dang, that's catchy. It's good.
It is.
I'm glad they brought it back.
Every time I hear it, I see that dynamite, that fuse, just
yeah, always
so good.
So how you doing, Tristan?
I'm doing all right. I've been diving into a lot of mystery and intrigue just beyond this movie. Even watching the Traitors on Peacock. It's got Alan Cummings as the host, and he's fantastic.
He always is.
It's so good. So highly recommend. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. That's good. We have just finished the Dragon Ball series. We watched all of Dragon Ball Z, all of Dragon Ball Super, the continuing movies, and now Ray is all caught up. She knows all the characters. Mila says all the characters' name in her very 3-year-old way. So she's like, Piccolo.
Cute.
And I'm in a weird place parenting wise, because now I have exposed Ray to this, and I have the original Dragon Ball manga, which is not for 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
Has a bit of some advanced content in it. And the main character Goku is a child, but he was raised in the forest, has never met anyone other than his grandfather, and so he doesn't know how to act around like a girl, and he's met with a girl who's just a little older than him and has no presence of mind of manners or even personal space. And I've already got Ray being like, Goku doesn't know what Chi-Chis are. And I was like, oh gosh, this is going to get a lot worse, because Master Roshi's perverted, and then the first wish out of the Dragon Balls is a pair of women's underwear. So this is all going to go real well.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm doing good. It's either going to be fine and everything's going to be good, or something weird's going to happen because of it. So we'll see how good my parenting skills are. But with that said, I digress. Let's move on to Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Directed by Brian De Palma. I don't know why I added an L there. I guess I want Del Taco. A producer was Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner. Screenwritten by David Cope and Robert Towne. Production company was Paramount Pictures and Cruise-Wagner Production, and this was actually Tom Cruise's first production for his production company.
Yeah.
It was rated PG-13, an action, adventure, mystery, and thriller.
I agree with that genre list.
Yeah. Released on May 22nd, 1996. So a nice early summer. I was going to say mid-year blockbuster. Starring Tom Cruise, John Voight, Henry Czerny? Is that what we decided?
Czerny? I think so. Yeah.
Czerny. Emmanuelle Béart, Jean Reno, Ving Rhames, Kristin Scott Thomas. No. Kristin Scott Thomas and Vanessa Redgrave. And you want to give it a shot for Hannah?
Oh, we're gonna try it. I gotta pull it back up.
She is Lithuanian, and her name is.
Yeah, we're gonna butcher this. Oh no, that's Mission to Mars. Hold on. I clicked on the wrong mission.
Hey, it happens sometimes.
Okay, Hannah is. Oh my goodness! Why didn't I have this ready? Okay. In oh geez, Ingeborg Depkuniete.
Hey.
That might have been too Russian, but
you know what?
She was born in the USSR though, so I guess.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, you get 10. You get 10 points. We will never reveal what those 10 points are for or like what they get, but you get them anyway.
Thanks.
It had a budget of around 80 billion, and in the U.S. it grossed 181 million, and worldwide it grossed 458 million.
Oof.
Its opening weekend, it made almost 50 million, which is pretty astounding. So
that's crazy.
It made over half of its budget back just on the first weekend. So by all measures, financial success. And so Tom Cruise gets a notch on his belt for having an absolute summer blockbuster for his first production. So I guess good for him.
Yeah. Hey.
That's right. Now we transition into a segment called Recap Rewind, where one of us gives you a recap of the film in our own creative way. This week, that job falls Unter. Where did I go? This falls to Tristan. And so, without further ado.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight, everyone. So what's the deal?
Oh, gosh.
All right. 24 years have passed since we last saw Jim Phelps, played by John Voight, the leader of the renowned Impossible Mission Force of the 1960s. You know the ones. Joined by a team of young and capable agents, including his wife Claire, Emmanuelle Béart, and charismatic Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise. The new mission, should they choose to accept it, is to intercept the knock list, which contains the identities of secret agents before it falls into the wrong hands. But the mission takes a deadly turn. Jack, the hacker, loses access to the controls of the elevator that he's on top of and gets impaled by some spiky elevator shaft things straight to the face as the elevator goes to the top floor, leaving young Tristan slightly afraid of elevators for a while. The team is compromised, and Ethan watches as they are killed one by one, including beloved Jim, who is shot and falls off a bridge into the river below. Ethan calls IMF Director Kittredge and reports the team is dead. Surprisingly, Kittredge tells Ethan to meet in person. While being debriefed, Ethan notices some familiar faces around that he saw earlier and asks Kittredge what's actually happening. Kittredge reveals the whole mission was a setup to catch a mole, and coincidentally, Ethan is the only survivor of his team, finding himself at the center of conspiracy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Using an explosive stick of gum, Ethan detonates an aquarium inside of the restaurant and manages to escape before Kittredge can react. Ethan staggers into the safe house, armed with the information he obtained during their meeting. He begins researching any connections to the mole and uncovering the truth behind this web of betrayal and deception. While surveying the room, Ethan discovers a Bible that contains the clue to unlocking a code name, Job, and the verse, Job 3:14. Knowing that he must stay one step ahead of his enemies, Ethan attempts to reach out to the mysterious Max, the person who was intended to receive the knock list. Exhausted, Ethan starts to fall asleep, only to be awakened by a bloodied Jim walking through the door and reaching out to him. Ethan shakes off what is a hallucination, only to find Claire, who has returned to the safe house unharmed. Uncertain about trusting Claire, Ethan searches her and engages in a tense and strangely uncomfortable physical interaction.
Mm-hmm.
That, let's be honest, if that was a guy, that scene would have gone a lot differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
After deciding he can trust Claire, Ethan receives an email response from Max with a time and a location. The next day, Ethan arrives at the location and is taken to meet Max, Vanessa Redgrave. Upon meeting Max, Ethan makes a deal. He will deliver the knock list himself, and she can deliver Job to him. Ethan returns to Claire at the safe house and uses the computer to access the IMF database. You know, the database of the agency he is trying to hide from that can probably track his computer. That is their property. They find a team of former agents, Luther, Ving, Rhames, and Krieger, Reno, who have been disavowed for undisclosed reasons, to help them break into the CIA headquarters and access a database with the list. In one of the most iconic and suspenseful scenes in Mission Impossible history, Ethan obtains the list and makes a daring escape with his team. As Ethan prepares for a meeting with Max to finalize the deal, the Bible he has been using to communicate with Max falls to the ground. Upon picking it up, he notices a stamp on the front page that reads, "The Drake Hotel, Chicago." This triggers Ethan's memory for an earlier conversation in the movie where Jack, Ethan, and Jim discussed Jim's recruitment trip to Chicago and his stay at the Drake Hotel. It's all starting to make sense now, except for the part where Jim, for some reason, brought a Bible from the Drake Hotel in Chicago with him to Prague, when Max specifically said earlier that Job doesn't quote the Bible when they make contact. So why bring that particular copy of the Bible when it's the most printed and accessible book in the history of the world?
Oh.
It doesn't matter. All that matters now is that pieces are coming together and that Kittredge has set up Ethan's mom and uncle, framing them as being involved in a drug ring to lure Ethan out of hiding. Ethan goes to a payphone to call Kittredge, keeping him on the line long enough to let him know that he's in London, but not long enough to pinpoint his exact location. Ethan hangs up the phone, and Jim is standing next to him. And this time, it's the real Jim. Ethan and Jim discuss what happened that night in Prague, and Jim reveals to Ethan that Kittredge is the mole. However, Ethan knows that through the Bible clue that it was actually Jim, and he acts like he believes Jim. The only thing Ethan can't figure out, though, is whether Claire is involved. Jim then instructs Ethan not to inform Claire that he's alive and to plan to meet after the deal. Ethan returns to the safe house where Claire is sitting in a sleeping bag in the corner. She calls Ethan over and kisses his hand. The scene fades to black, leaving us wondering, did she just invite him to bed? Or was that just a very suggestive kiss of comfort? We'll never know for sure, because, spoiler alert, she dies. The following day, Max, Kittredge, Ethan, and his team, minus Krieger, who threw a fit earlier, converge on a high-speed train. After Max receives the disc, she informs Ethan about the location of the money. Ethan instructs Claire to retrieve it, and when she arrives, she is confronted by Jim. Surprisingly, Claire appears unfazed by Jim's presence. In fact, she has known about his involvement all along and questions him about the next move, informing him of Kittredge being on the train. But surprise, it's actually Ethan wearing a Jim mask, and he finally has the proof he needs that Claire was never on his side. The real Jim emerges from the shadows and intends to kill Ethan, believing him to be the only person to know he's still alive, until Ethan reveals that he has proof of Jim's survival using his fancy video glasses, and Kittredge watching on the other side with his fancy spy watch. In a desperate attempt to escape, Jim shoots Claire and climbs out the train. Krieger shows up in a helicopter because he's been working with Jim the whole time. the scene culminates in an intense fight between Ethan and Jim on top of a train with a helicopter following as they pass through the channel connecting England and France. In what is intended to be an epic one-liner moment, but comes off really dumb, Ethan pulls out another stick of gum and yells, "Red light, green light," in what can only be a beautiful homage to his murdered friend and coworker Jack, who at the beginning of the film introduced Ethan to the whole red light, green light gum technology, and it's the most meaningful moment in the whole movie. No, it's dumb. Can we all agree that it was just dumb?
Yeah.
Okay. He says this line and sticks the gum to the helicopter, causing it to explode. And what's the one thing a train with an exploding fireball with spinning blades that's crashing behind it should do? That's right. Come to a screeching halt. So we can all get really squeamish when that sharp blade stops inches away from Ethan's gorgeous face, which could have been avoided had the train just kept moving. Having successfully stopped the mole, the guy who was the main leader of the team since season 2 of the original show that everybody loved, revealed Max's identity and kept the knock list safe despite the fact that he stole it in the first place. Ethan is forgiven and chooses to retire, while Luther gets reavowed. Ethan hops on a plane to live his agent-free life, only to receive a message about his next mission, should he choose to accept it.
Wait, was that the end?
That was the end. Yeah.
Okay, that was a really solid end. So if it was more, I was gonna be like, I really felt the cue there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was that told the story.
I feel like there were moments that I could have
out.
I cut out a lot. I think there was stuff that I could have gotten stuck on if I really wanted to, but I was like, I got to keep rolling with this.
Yeah. So, what did we think of the movie overall? I'm gonna say it's a 90s action movie.
Yeah.
Like
super
it is
90s.
It's very 90s. It is a very dated film.
Yeah.
And not just the technology that it is trying to show off, but the camera choices, the pacing, line deliveries, like it is very, very 90s.
Yeah.
So 90s.
Yeah, very 90s. I feel like the action and suspense was written really well, but the dialogue was pretty flat. Like there wasn't a lot of interesting like quotes or dialogue that happened.
Yeah. Which if I might, I'm going to just read this out real quick. It's a little long, but I think it'll give us it'll connect what we're saying. So, Paramount Pictures owned the rights to the television series, tried to make it for years, but failed. Tom Cruise had been a fan since he was a kid and thought it was a good idea to make. He chose this program to be the first, or chose this film to be the first film of his production company, and convinced Paramount to put up $70 million of the budget. So, I don't know, 93%. Cruise and his production partner, Paula Wagner, worked on the story with filmmaker Sidney Pollack, and a few months hired De Palma, and then I'm going to skip through a little bit. They went through 2 screenplay drafts that no one liked. De Palma brought in screenwriter Steve Zalian, David Koepp, and finally Robert Towne. When the film was greenlit, Koepp was initially fired, and Robert Towne being the lead writer, and Koepp being brought back later. So there was some weird writing issues within the production. According to the director, the goal was for the script was to constantly surprise the audience, and Cope was paid $1 million to rewrite the original script by Willard Huyck and Gloria Katz. So this script had a lot going on, and according to one project source, there were so much problems with the dialogue and story development, but throughout the whole thing, the basic plot pretty much stayed the same. So that idea of the action and suspense, I think, was always there, and then they just tried to build a story around it. And I think truly they struggled with it. They struggled to write a story to make, like, you care for the characters or whatever it might be. Anyway, we'll get into it. Let's get into, so what did you like best about the film?
Well, real quick.
Oh, yes.
To finish off my overall thoughts, I think as a standalone movie, if you're just watching this, I think it's a fun summer action movie.
Yeah.
And like the idea of there being a mole is really good, and like the intrigue and like that twist is really good.
Right.
I can see how this movie was like good enough and like performed well enough to start a new franchise from it, or revive the franchise.
Right.
I also, on the other hand, feel like this movie is so disrespectful to the original show and the fans of that show.
Ultimately,
it's the equivalent of if the next Mission Impossible movie was to have Ethan Hunt be the villain so that they could put somebody else into the spotlight.
Make Ethan Hunt all the things Ethan Hunt is accused of being throughout the entire series.
Yeah, this whole time he's fighting against, like, no, I'm loyal, I'm a good guy, I'm never gonna turn my back, and then all of a sudden,
and then the last movie, him going like, never mind.
And they're like, why did you do it? And he's like,
yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, that's a really good point. It is. I think there was that kind of trope within reboots of 60s and 80s, 70s and 80s TV shows that were then turned into movies, where you like pay homage to the original character, but also like do something to transition it into the new one. But it's like, that was done poorly.
Yeah, let's make everybody hate the old guy.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that they actually asked I forgot his name, the original Jim Phelps, to come back, and he read the script and he's like, no, I'm not going to do that because of what you're doing to the character. And there was a version of the script that brought back like the original team, and that script had all of them being killed off, and he's like, yeah, we're not coming back, none of us are coming back for that. So
I think there's a deeper thing there of like, because Tom Cruise had to approve it. And I feel like that is very on par with like the idea of Tom Cruise to just be like, well, if we need to get rid of a kid, just, make him bad or kill him. Like, what's the problem? Not seeing how important it is, because he's like, I got to jump off a train or something. Anyway, what'd you like best about the film?
Okay, I thought I really enjoyed, I mean, even knowing what happens in this movie, having seen it many times, I think the suspense and the mystery is still pretty good. Like it's slow, but that really helps build the suspense within it. Like the scene where he's breaking into the mainframe, or the what is it, the black room or whatever it is to get
room,
the data, and that him being suspended in the air, and like that scene is really slow, but it's also like really intense, so it keeps you engaged while it's happening. It's not super action packed, like the action, especially compared to the modern movies and the new movies in Mission Impossible, like it's not super action packed, but it still feels like it's moving along through the story. I think the idea of using the hallucination of shot Jim because Ethan is just like so shook up was really clever, and I think they could have emphasized that even more so that when they do the reveal that Jim's not actually dead, it could have been like, wait, is this a real moment or not?
Right.
But I thought that was a pretty, like, it was a fun idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the ideas that they tried to do overall were really great.
Yeah. I think so too. I like a lot of the action and some of the mystery. With exception of a couple scenes, the second hour is like when the movie starts, and that's solid. It's like a whole hour of buildup, which is hit or miss within pacing, plot, whatever. But once it gets to that second hour, once Ethan brings on Luther and what was John's name?
Krieger.
Once those two come in, then it feels like the movie's going. Like the pacing's really good. It's moving, it's grooving, it's going. With exception of a couple scenes. But yeah, I like those aspects. And like you said, the overall, like, the plot idea is super good. I feel like they could have done it without Jim. They could have done the same, like they spent the time establishing all these characters who immediately die. They could have done it with an older person, like an older agent.
It could have been anybody. They could have made a completely new character and it still would have had the same impact.
Right.
And, well, maybe better impact because, like, knowing that it's Jim, if you were of the era where you grew up watching the original stuff and then you watch that, it was like, that what? that's not what Jim would do.
Right. Yeah. It's super, that part's super wonky. But like the idea of an agent being traitorous, they could have established that real quick and it would have been fine.
Would have been great.
But I don't know. It was, anyway, is there more you liked?
No, we can move on.
Okay, good. Stuff you don't like.
Quote, I've tasted the goods. I
think that's the part that makes him so disrespectful as like an idea and a character. The fact that you take this character who, you know, people love, and then you kill him off in the first 10 minutes. Actually, it was probably like 15 minutes, but you kill him off. Okay. That sucks. Oh no. And then you get to the end of the movie or close to the end of the movie and you realize, oh no, he's the bad guy. Oh, double crossing. Spoilers. He double crossed everyone. But then he turns out to just be the worst human.
The worst.
Like, he clearly married her as like a prop.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem to love, he kills her purposefully. And you could have done you could have done that with any other bad guy. That would have been fine. You could have been done. But you take the main leader of the original beloved show and turn him into the worst human possible.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. I have a giant barfing emoji right next to this line because that's what I felt like when he said that. It's so bad. Some other things. This one's a minor one. I feel like that one's the biggest one. Right. That line and what it represents for Jim's character. And then I kind of have the rest of them going in an ascending order of least bothersome to most bothersome. The technician that worked in like the database should have not been working there after allowing the alarms to go off because his cold beverage dripped on the floor. It's a super minor thing, but that I feel like that should have been a part of like, hey, our mission is slightly more complicated because the technician that we thought that we'd have to impersonate or like use to get in is no longer around. It's a new technician. So how do we like work around that?
Right.
That would have been great. Instead, we get this guy who's kind of a buffoon and was like, what does he even do? And anyway, he should have been reprimanded the first time around.
Right.
Before anything happened.
Right.
The relationship between Ethan and Claire is super underdeveloped and so weird. Like
there's nothing positive about that relationship.
I mean, I read something, but it's like there at some point in the script was something more that they cut back on, but then they left these remnants in there that just feels weird. And like it's kind of a flirtatious relationship, but it's not really, and it's gross. Yeah. Which brings me to the depiction of Claire's character is really gross.
Yeah.
Like herself, not gross. The way they wrote her character and chose to interact with her character is just probably one of the grossest like female characters written in the movies that we've talked about. Like she's just there to be a sexualized prop.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Which makes no sense in the scope of the story because we're supposed to have this super secret, super advanced, impossible group that she is an agent of. And outside of being a beautiful woman, she adds nothing. Like she's introduced as the assumably provider of drugs or the prostitute that ODs for the general guy or the Russian general guy. I don't remember what he was, but she introduced as that.
Yeah.
And then every time she talks to Ethan, there's like and it's like, it has to be like a director thing because I feel like if she just spoke, it wouldn't sound anything like that. Every time she spoke, it had to be like sultry.
Yeah.
You know, like it was a weird tone for her.
Yeah. I'm not mad at the fact that like her role in the bigger scheme was to try to manipulate and use Ethan to their benefit.
That's actually fine.
That totally works, but the way that they went about doing it just felt so ugh.
Yeah, but like that's how she's presented throughout the whole thing. It isn't just with Ethan. You know, there's that weird. Yeah, it's super weird. But I guess my point saying is like she never does anything within the scope of the movie, and there might not be an opportunity, but she seems like a helpless doe throughout the whole movie, where you have to remember the context of the film. She is an agent of, like, she should be this deadly agent.
Yeah.
But it just seems like she's the damsel the whole time. And that's like writing and directing, putting her in that position, not her necessarily. And it's just, it's unhelpful to the plot. It's not good. It's uncomfortable. Like you said, it's really uncomfortable. Like the whole time, it's just weird. The way Ethan interacts with her, the way everyone else interacts with her, the way that Jim interacts with her. Like, we're supposed to believe, I think we talked about the age difference off camera at one point, but
Jim's like twice the age.
Yeah. Well, like, he's almost 60 and she's in her early 30s.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, they're both, adults by that point, but we're supposed to, like, there's something that we're supposed to believe that, like, this older man. Well, I think this leads into my next thing that I don't like. Jon Voight. I friggin' hate this guy. Like, I thought maybe I was just taking what I know about him now, that he's just like an insane racist douche. Like, I thought that was maybe it. I don't like how he acts. Like, I don't like who he is in this character. Like, him as Jim, even in the beginning where, he's supposed to be like the motivation, the knot that holds everything together. He just seems put off the whole time he's on screen. He just seems put off, and like he doesn't care, and it's makes no sense. Even when they're like making a joke and he's supposed to be responding to the joke, it's like his reaction, and that's Voight. Like, at that point, I'm willing to say that's Voight. That's just how he acts and how he is. And I guess I never really watched movies with him. Like maybe National Treasure. Like, that's the only thing I think I know with him in it. And man, I hate him. Like, I don't like him in this movie at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that the movie was like, it was trying to be different than the show. It was trying to do something new and different. And it was also trying to have this like kind of eerie feeling throughout, especially in the beginning. Like, the first half of the movie is like the thriller section of it, of like, there's this mystery that's going on. There's this conspiracy. We're all in the middle of it. And it's got, like, last week you were talking about, was it last week? Maybe 2 weeks ago, you were talking about the Dutch angles and stuff. Like, there's so many in this movie, but it's too, especially in the beginning, to show that like things are off. Things aren't the way that we'd expect them to be. But I feel like from the beginning, there's just this weird feeling about Jim.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that movie should introduce us, and we should feel like everything's normal, and then things go south.
Right.
Where this like always felt like something was wrong.
Right. Yeah.
From the very beginning. And that was weird. Also, this isn't necessarily something that I didn't like, just something that I noticed is the least exciting pre-titles role thing. Like, nowadays it's Ethan doing something crazy and like this really intense blah blah blah. This one was pretty low stakes comparatively.
Do you know the secret behind the opening
for this movie specifically?
Oh, the cold opening before
the cold open. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah. Like, we're supposed to have some tension that she's like dead, and that if she doesn't get the serum in her, then she's going to be dead. But they're in a stage. They're on a stage.
Yeah.
They're in a what? Why?
Yeah, it just is like
is
so underwhelming compared to other cold opens of these movies.
It's not something I like least, but the opening credits, the when the theme comes in.
Oh yeah, and
yeah. Do you know what's happening through them? And it happens in every single movie. So I'm going to spoil it.
It shows you everything that happens in the movie.
Yeah. It tells the entire story of the movie. So if you watch that, you are going to see pivotal things that happen. But most of the time, everyone's like looking at the names or watching the little, the wick burn out.
There's apparently a shot in there that was also in the trailer of Claire and Ethan kissing. That never happened because, again, their relationship got cut from the majority of the script.
Which I feel like they should have left simply because it would have made some of those other scenes make sense more.
Yeah.
But with that, if you cut that, I think I wrote it down. But this movie, and it's something I dislike, has an unnecessary amount of sexual tension.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's sexual tension between Jack and Hannah. Jack and Hannah, or Jack and
was it Sarah?
Sarah.
I think it was Jack and Sarah. Yeah.
And he's like, "You have beautiful eyes," or whatever it is. And then there's a something because later, Jack opens the door and Ethan goes, "You saved our ass," or
he says something about
I think he said, Jack said that Jim saved my ass. And then Sarah said, "And what an ass." Like she's complimenting him.
Yeah.
So you get this idea of like Jack is being too forward and like creepy flirtatious. But then she says that line and is kind of like flirtatious too. And then suddenly it's like, wait, so what is happening here?
Yeah, and it's the first time she doesn't respond to him, but then that time it's like, wait, she is being flirty with it. And then he says something about like, oh, and it's a lonely as well, or something. Yeah. Like it's just like weird like flirting going on. It doesn't make sense. In this
apparently very like desperate mission.
Yeah. This dude. It doesn't make sense that Claire would be assigned to Jim's team if they're married.
Yeah, that's right? Because he doesn't pick his interest.
Team. He doesn't pick his team. Kittredge tells him this is who your team is. And I feel like that would.
But he also says, so that's where it's interesting because he's like, we picked your team and it's your usual team.
Right.
So he may have had some
say in it.
But this feels like they just had to put a team together quickly and it was easier to just pick the people he liked.
Yeah. And like,
but I agree with you. There is a conflict of interest to have your spouse on the same mission team as you. Like that feels like
and she's the one that's tension. Like going behind enemy lines disguised as whoever that needs to fake her death so that they can like get information from like in that first scene, that cold open. She's like, she takes a drug to fake dying so that they can get information from that dude. Like there's no way that they would allow the team leader.
It's even more. Well, that was the thing because he wasn't there.
He wasn't on that one. Yeah.
So he wasn't there. So that kind of solves that. But then we have the other problem of we didn't see it, but it feels like there's an affair happening between Ethan and her. Like that feels like it's happening, even though they don't show the kiss. So that whole thing feels super sketchy.
Yeah,
like,
because
in the scope of the mission, because
it's like fondling her face and being like, "Are you okay?" And then she wakes up and she's like, "Did we get up?"
That was a spot on Tom Cruise.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're still in the first like 15 minutes.
I know.
Oh, So
I have more.
Yeah, you have the bullet points, and then it seems like whenever you call it out, I remember stuff. So go for it.
Yeah. Jim's motives. All right, we're moving to we stayed in the first 15. Now we're in the last 15. Jim's motives and loyalties make no sense whatsoever. I guess when they're talking about like, oh, Kittredge is the mole, and he's like, but why? And he tells them like all the reasons. We are led to assume and infer that this is what he's saying, like, is his reasons for betraying his country and all of those things. But then there's like a weird, like, I don't really understand what his conversation at the end is. It's so weird. And I was like, do I need to go back and rewatch that last conversation, or just deal with the fact that it doesn't actually make sense why Jim is doing what he's doing and why he's willing to just kill his wife, who was his partner in crime.
It was $10 million.
And
why would he kill her?
Yeah.
Like, he's old. Why would he need to stop and go like, okay, I need to be frugal with this money. I'm going to kill my wife so I don't have to worry about her.
Well, I get the idea was like, oh, hit Ethan where it hurts so that I can get out. And like, that makes sense. Shoot her because Ethan cares about her. So like, I'll do that. But also the fact that he's so willing to just kill her.
But also on top of that, so adding on to that, without the context of the affair,
it really means nothing.
Why?
Yeah.
Ethan found out that she was a traitor.
Yeah.
So he was going to either arrest her or kill her. Like, it was going to happen. You just saved him time.
Yeah.
But onto the motivation thing. So you weren't with me on Speed, but, well, we didn't do Speed together, but we didn't watch Speed either.
We didn't do either of those things.
Yes. In that movie, the villain, good old.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Waterworld, that guy.
Yep.
What's his name? Because I'm blanking.
Deacon. What's his real name?
See. I thought you were leaving me hanging, but
I was, and then I was also trying to remember what it was. Oh my gosh, this is 2 weeks in a row where we're just
Dennis Hopper.
Blanking.
Jeez,
Dennis
that's
Hopper.
awful. Dennis Hopper. So his character is a cop and is in bomb squad and gets fingers blown off, like his eyes in Waterworld. But
just one eye.
One eye. And his revenge is essentially the forced into retirement and, not getting paid enough. Like, you almost have sympathy for him.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is wrong with Jim? What is that? He has no, like, if there was a Kittredge. I was missing a sound there. Kittredge. Yeah. If Kittredge and him had a call and would have been like, hey, we've talked about this. This is going to be your last mission. You're getting up there in age. Maybe we've had a few, you had this mission that failed. You had this mission that failed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your age that's the problem. If they had a conversation like that, then you're suddenly like, oh, he's feeling trapped. He doesn't want to retire. Like, he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or having them screw him over in some sort of way, which, according to how this whole movie is not out of the realm of possibility for the American government. And guess what? It's not outside the realm of government in reality. But, oh, sorry, political. Anyway, if they would have had that, I think everything else may have made sense.
Yeah.
Like, you still would have thought he was a piece of crap for the end, but it would have made a little more sense why he went to all this trouble.
Yeah.
But when you get to the end, it's immediately like, so why did you do that? Because you weren't trying to get the list. You were trying to get the money. You don't care about the list.
Yeah.
You weren't seeking revenge. Was this money? Was that it? Was that the whole thing? You could have come up with a better plan, I think.
Yeah.
I think you could have come up with a better plan.
Yeah. And like,
did Jim know it was a fake mission?
He must have known that they were, well, maybe he didn't know that they were onto him. I think it was going to be his last mission. And I don't like,
but
because he faked his death,
like,
he killed everybody else.
He faked his death to frame Ethan.
But that's the question.
Well,
that's the question. Did he expect Ethan to actually survive, or did he expect everybody to die?
His plan makes no sense.
Yeah.
Oh my God, his plan makes no sense.
If his plan was for everybody to die,
it still doesn't make sense.
He gets the list, the disc, and he makes the transfer. And then that would have been like end of it. He would have walked away. But Ethan survives, and then he switches the plan. This is how I interpreted it. Ethan wasn't supposed to survive, and then he has to switch up his game. He sends Claire in to like help manipulate Ethan into actually doing the thing. They find out that there's a mole, blah blah blah, or they find out that Kittredge knows there's a mole, and so they play Ethan to eventually get the money.
So,
but like,
this is why it doesn't make sense, and it's just one thing, unless he just believed fully that Ethan would respond in one way and one way only. He aborted the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of way before everything.
Yeah.
So if everyone responded correctly,
everybody would have.
Hannah, Sarah, and Ethan would have been gone. Jim would have still done the bridge thing.
Yep.
And maybe Claire would have done the car blowing up. But everyone else would have survived. But then if he would have scanned the thing, he would have gotten caught. Jim would have.
Yeah.
None of it doesn't. So
yeah, unless the abort would have been them.
Well,
yeah.
Then it would be, he knew it was a trap. No. Because Max got it. Max got the thing.
He still made the transfer. He gave the thing to Max.
That's right.
So he still did.
He did what he was going to do.
He was going to do. The thing that didn't go to plan was that Ethan survived. Because
Ethan was supposed.
Like, I'm guessing they were all supposed to go to the car, and then the car would have exploded and killed everybody.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So that's probably it. Of when they aborted, they were all just going to go into the car.
Yeah, because Hannah went to the car.
Right.
And if she was the one following the rules,
right,
and she went to the car.
Blew up. Right. Okay.
But Ethan told Sarah, like, stay on the target. And then he was doing his thing.
And then, okay. So the thing is, Ethan ruined everything.
As we know from every other time we see Ethan moving forward, he's a wild card, and you can't expect him to do anything the way that you expect him to.
Right. Okay.
Except for he does the same thing of doing not the same thing so often that you can expect him to not do the same thing.
Okay, I overthought it, and I guess the plan makes sense if everything had worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, if everything had gone according to plan. So this is a little bit of a spoilery for the future franchise thought, but my comment earlier about it being like doing what they did with Jim being the same as if they made Ethan the villain in the next movie.
Right.
It makes more sense knowing what we know about Ethan and his relationship with the government agencies for him to turn than it did for Jim, because we don't see Jim go through that stuff. We aren't told that Jim goes through that stuff.
Right.
All we know is that Jim was the main guy for 6 seasons or whatever.
Was there a line or something? Because I missed it. If there was there a line or something that actually connected it to the show, or is it just Jim Phelps? That's what's our connection is?
It's just that it's the character.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe this is just like an alternate universe with that same character. Still disrespectful as all can be.
Yeah.
But going slightly back to the plan, because it's something I hate. They did Emilio bad. I know. They wronged him. Not just that he died on the elevator. I think that could have worked out fine. How they did it, the effect, the manner in which his character dies, all of it seemed really avoidable.
Yeah.
Because if you can all imagine with me, the elevator is going up. He is sitting on top of the elevator. At the top, where the elevator is supposed to stop, these little like claw things come out. And there's one jagged one, and the rest are all perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they seem like they're there to stop, like extra precaution to stop the elevator. Jack is sitting the entire time. If he would have laid down and aligned himself, he would have avoided them completely.
Yeah, there's a gap in between them.
A solid, like, 2.5, 3 foot gap that he could have easily fit between. Also, the elevator, the top of the elevator, has space within it. If he would have brought himself into that space, there's no way those claws were built in a way that actually, like, touched the elevator. The only reason he got hit by them was because he was sitting up. That's literally the only reason.
And if all other movies have taught me anything about elevators, is that vent that he looked down and talked to them through, he easily could have just like ducked into there.
Yeah.
And gotten into the elevator.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Also, he could have just held on to the center cable because those spikes weren't near the center cable.
Yeah.
It was so bad. That is one of the worst deaths in like action movie history of like it makes no sense at all.
Yeah. But it was enough to make
it was visually traumatizing. Like it's visually very like it's not great. They have
I thought about that scene for years.
They have a prosthetic, a doll or like a test dummy or something, and that thing gets like chomped up by that little arm, that blade.
It's just like 2 frames, but it's enough to just go
too many frames. Yeah. Which I'm impressed they kept the PG-13 with that. That's
right?
Brutal. Alrighty. Continuing on with what we didn't like, because there's a lot. Or are you done?
No. The Bible. I mentioned it in my recap. The Bible doesn't make any sense. And it was funny because we didn't think about it. And then we had like I kind of go through the questions and stuff with my wife after we were done. So Gloria and I were talking, and we had like finished the conversation, and we were just kind of like sitting around, and then she was like, wait a second, why was the Bible the smoking gun? And we started talking about it and realizing there was no reason for that Bible to be there. If there was something special about that specific Bible, like that Bible had like notes or a specific code within it that was important, that makes sense.
He could have just had a star next to it, next to the verse, and it would have been like Ethan wouldn't have noticed it in the moment, but then would have noticed it later.
Yeah, or if he actually referenced Bible verses in his contacts, in his correspondence with Max,
that line,
then it would be
Max
like, okay,
says,
he takes the Bible and he does that. But she specifically says he doesn't do that.
That line invalidates him.
Yeah.
It invalidates that prop. Like, it invalidates it as something to be impactful in the story. Well, and also, it just makes Jim look like an idiot.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, so he doesn't quote Bible verses. Does he just forget the number? So he has to, like, keep it with him so he remembers the number?
Yeah.
This has been his alias for months.
It's so weird. There's no
sense.
Reason. Yeah.
That should have been. Well, and then, like, Jim is supposed to be the super spy, so even if he did quote the Bible, he should have had it memorized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, the Bible's dumb.
It didn't make sense.
I have no more to add because it's just stupid. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It made sense as Ethan being like, oh, it's not Job 3:14, it's Job 3:14, and then like pulling that and like figuring out that clue.
That part's fine.
That is solid, but it's the rest of it that's like that should not have been the thing that pointed back to.
It's a useless clue in the grand scope of it.
Yeah.
Because
I tried to look up if there was any explanation of like why this actually ended up being the case, and it was all people being like, well, maybe Jim was actually a religious man and he used it to help him like cope with the decisions that he was making. And it's like, no, you're just making excuses.
You know what would have worked even more is if, like, before the mission or something, he was suddenly just like, and as the good book says, and quote something from it. That would have been more like at the end of it when he's like really thinking about it and he like staring at the Bible, maybe trying to think of something, and then just like that memory pops in and he's like, wait, could he? No, that can't work. And then he starts playing out all the scenes, and then suddenly it's like, I think it may have been him. Because why would him bringing a Bible from the Drake Hotel connect him?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Like, it just doesn't. But if you would have had him maybe quoting the Bible already, and it's like, well, he actually does know the Bible. Weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was just like, this is a very, like, I really like Job in the Bible. Something that, there could have been anything else. Or
I
just
did
don't
read a
use
thing.
the Bible.
Let me see if I can find it, because there was one thing that I read that was like, okay, I can see that, but it's the only sort of explanation, but it only explains why he would have chosen Job as his alias.
Right.
Give me just a second, because it was actually a really
I'm vamping it.
Thanks.
No problem.
Oh no, that's the dumb answer. Someone was just like, because he was reading it.
He ran out of toilet paper. I don't know. And so
he was Jim felt that he was betrayed and abandoned by the company, by society, by the world, as if he were a modern day Job. And I was like, okay, I can see how he saw that and like took the connection of like, oh, like Job, I have been abandoned.
Right.
So like blah blah blah. That makes sense, but it
Right.
doesn't explain why he kept the Bible.
No, not at all.
Anyway,
Yeah, the Bible sucked.
do you have things?
Yeah, the technology.
Yeah.
I know that this movie was made in 1996. I understand that. But
Actually, this movie would have been made in 1995
that's
and released
great.
in 1996.
Thanks. Jurassic Park was 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And even in how they were doing things, it felt more technologically above and beyond what we were getting in this Mission Impossible thing. So I guess my issue is that nothing they did was like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Mission Impossible, like one of the things is the technology is so advanced that you can do these crazy things. This didn't feel like it established it. Also, it doesn't make sense. Like the technology doesn't make sense at certain points. I think we talked about it off camera, but he is accused of being a traitor. He then blows up the aquarium and essentially assaults all the other agents and his director. And then he goes to the place and his credentials work and his computer's fine.
He's able to log in and yeah.
You mean he has like this crazy access to internet and all this stuff, but like no one can stop his credentials from working?
Yeah. There's like one line later where they're like, "Oh, he's building a team." But it's like, why have you not stopped him already?
Yeah. I think Kittredge probably has some line of like, this lets us see what he's doing or something like that. But either way, I don't know. I know it's the mid 90s, but the technology was just very underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting thing because I think it's been a while since I've watched any of the old show. They did have technology in it, but I think they tried to make it more realistic. Like it wasn't James Bond level of like, oh, we have this like super crazy gadgets and stuff. Like we do have some gadgets, but not.
Oh yeah, that was a movies that were made. The stuff that was happening in 007 was way cooler than what was happening in 96 Mission Impossible.
I think they were trying to make it a little bit like it's advanced, but it's not futuristic technology.
Right.
Where now when we're watching Mission Impossible movies, they have the digital scanner that scans their face and then 3D prints the mask and like it has this more advanced feel to it.
But it also doesn't feel that's where it's weird because I feel we'll probably talk about it in the other ones. They don't overly feel like too futuristic. As technology goes, I think so. This is kind of off topic, but I think one of the reasons this one's hard to watch is because this was right at the cusp of the technology phenomenon of the late 90s.
Yeah.
So 99 was iMac or MacBook or I think Steve Jobs, one of his big booms was like 99 or 2000 or 2001, somewhere around there. And where Apple and Macintosh computers were revitalized and turned into a commodity, turned into something everyone wanted, was around that time. And then at that point, and you know, I'm sure there's tech historians who would argue with what the point of the boom was, but I feel like that was kind of one of the catalysts of saying, hey, technology is cool. Computers are not just for work or these other things. Like they can be cool because they had fun colors and all that good stuff. And they looked weird and all that craziness. With that said, technology moves so quickly and advanced so much. Like, I think when we watch Mission Impossible 2, it was 2000. Like, it was only filmed 3 years later. Like, it wasn't that far. But that movie, technology-wise, I feel like is going to be much different.
It was different, yeah.
And I think that this movie just missed that cusp of that boom of just like what is possible. Because even at that point, the instruments that they were using felt dated.
Yeah.
Like, it almost felt like they were pulling out, 80s cell phones and being like, this is the, it's one of those things. I think it just missed that that boom, and because of that, this movie feels so dated, and I hate it for it. Like, I just it's hard to watch some of the things where they're like, we can do this and this and that, and it's like, I don't know. The CIA special, the black box thing or whatever it was called, that was cool. That was a good idea. That was really neat. Everything else, kind of lame.
Yeah. Especially
because, like, he's entering it in with a human pulley. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. I think the first, like, hour I could do without. I know it's like building the story and stuff, but they could have rewritten that first hour, and it would have made it like 30 minutes, and it probably would have had the same effect for me. Like, I just don't really care for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been paced differently. Yeah, because like I said, from the beginning, it just feels really off. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's...
And now I have to check it, because sadly I have to put it on the things I didn't like. But I did... I'm not a fan of that setup. I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes for one of the actors or one of the people, and how it was laid out. I was like, I'm not going to be able to find what I'm looking for that way. Okay. So prior to this, he did Carlito's Way, Raising Cain, The Bonfire, Vanities, Casualties of War, The Untouchables, which is that considered action? I feel like that's more drama thriller.
We're talking about
The Untouchables. Yeah, De Palma. Because I don't see where it says genre for that. I guess my point in saying this, let's see. I just want to... Scarface, yeah, that's just a violent drama. Okay, I feel like I can say this. I don't think he does action well. Like, some of the directorial choices just feel weird. And I think it's because this movie is supposed to be... Well, I can't say that. That's me using what I've see in the future for it. But it should have like an action lilt to it. But I just don't think he does action well. He does suspense and drama real well. That felt really good. How it looked, the direction of the actor, everything that was kind of going, that felt good. But when it got to the action, it felt, how it was visually there, odd. And mostly because I think Tom Cruise has, a lot of crazy ideas for the action direction, but those have to be tempered with the view of De Palma. And it feels like it didn't click every time. Yeah. I had issues with some of the directorial choices. But that's all. I don't know. I'm sure there's more. Who is your favorite character?
I really like Luther. And I was
Yes.
when I wrote it down, I was like, am I letting what I know Luther becomes influence this answer? But no,
No, he's pretty cool in
there's a
this.
reason why he became a regular.
Yeah.
And it's because he was good in this movie.
Yeah.
He's interesting.
Yep.
He's got a little bit of that Doc Holliday vibe of like he's flawed. He's disavowed for some reason. Like he did something bad, but he's
Right.
also got a moral compass.
Yeah. He was like oddly the voice of reason in
Yeah.
a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
Which was a nice thing to have because it wasn't until the transfer of the disc to Luther that I realized I was like, whoa, no one's really been the voice of reason through this. Even when Ethan's doing his
Right.
plot synopsis about everything, there's always like an intensity to him to where you're like, you're probably right, but you're probably going to go about this the wrong way in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And Luther, it wasn't until that moment that I was like, man, Luther really like kind of holds him back a little in a good way. Like he is a good yin to the yang. Like he really brings about a little more reason out of Ethan.
Yeah. And Ethan sees that and he trusts him.
Right.
To like hold him accountable.
And we as the audience also feel that too, which they did a good job with that. And that might be just Ving Rhames' overall persona, his presence. He's super cool, but also like very like, you like when he has a bit of an outburst or something like that. I really like his character as well.
And I think they go off of each other really well. Like the relationship between Ethan and Luther is just like this. It's a really interesting dynamic.
It's a really weird, good relationship and chemistry between the two. Like Tom Cruise and Ving Rhames, like their chemistry is really good, and which is great because how Tom Cruise plays Ethan feels really. The character is not discovered yet. This feels like the rehearsal to what he becomes. I think the third one, a little bit in the second one, but we'll talk about that more. John Woo, much different than De Palma, and then much different than everyone else. But J.J. Abrams directs the third one, and so there's a lot of J.J. Abramisms throughout number 3. But I feel like Ethan starts to become more of a solid character, and then by the fourth one, you're like, this is Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, it's the third one that defines his character, because even at the end of this one he's like, I don't know what's even the point of being an agent anymore.
Right.
And so like that's what we're left with, his character of like he has no reason to be doing anything.
Right.
And it's not until the third one where he finds this is why I do what I do.
Yeah. And we find his morality and like his motivation for doing what he does. And then the fourth one, I think, shows his character as a whole character throughout the whole thing. Like number 3 feels like he's put to the test to discover it, and number 4 is like, okay, he's discovered it, now let's unleash it onto the world.
Yeah.
This, I guess I never realized how underdeveloped Ethan was, which feels really weird because like he is super charismatic. He is really like, he's the main character. There's no doubt about it. But sometimes it felt like Ethan was in a different movie. And that might be Tom Cruise a little bit, but it's also like the direction of it. So he's playing like this smooth, charismatic agent, but then he gets like a little too goofy in certain things. Like when he's doing the magic trick, and he's trying to, you know, trick him. His tone and his character is a little, you're almost like, dude, this guy's unhinged.
Yeah.
But his point and how he's going about it, like, that's cool. That makes sense. That's a good way of doing it. How he's delivering it, like, this guy's kind of insane.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we're supposed to feel that for him. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, you know, we'll judge it as we go along. I don't think I feel that anywhere else in the Mission Impossible series. But there's points in this movie where I'm like, Ethan's weird.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be. I mean,
he shouldn't be. It could be that he was what he was trying to like do in that thing was because Krieger was coming in and saying like, hey, I'm like, you can't do this without me. And so in an effort to be like, okay, this Krieger is like, he's a killer. That's why he's not an agent anymore. Like he's unhinged. And so in order to make him feel uncomfortable, I have to be unhinged, which could be the thing.
But I feel like he needed to say that to Luther or something. Like, we deserved something to connect that. It just feels really like, whoa, this is super weird. But then also, and then
he like clicks back into Ethan that he is in the rest of the movie.
And then, like, when he first is recovering from the failed mission, even when he's in the restaurant, how he like is talking about the situation, it feels like undeserved. I don't know why. Like, how he's doing it just feels really weird. Anyway, Ethan does not feel like a fully developed character, but he's almost there.
Right.
And I feel like we're going to see it closer in number 3. Number 2, we'll see. By my recollection, not totally, but we'll go from there. All righty. Luther, awesome. Love Luther. Him. Agreed.
I wanted to see a little bit more of Max because she was an intriguing character.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see more of the original team of like Jack and Sarah. We got 2 lines from Hannah, so I have no feelings about her. Mm-hmm. But like Jack and Sarah, not necessarily that weird relationship, but like those characters, I wanted to see more of them.
Right.
And I guess it's better to want to see more of them and have them be killed than for them to have existed and probably be really just horrible characters. Yeah. I feel like Sarah would have been a really good like contrast to Ethan had she existed throughout the movie.
Agreed. Hannah, all we learn is that she wears her sunglasses at night.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Oh
no, there it is.
Yeah.
Do you have a quote? Because I'm going to go ahead and say no. I really don't.
I wouldn't even call these my favorite quotes. If I were to say quotes that made me like chuckle a little bit, was when Ethan reveals that the Bible was stamped, and Jim says, "They stamped it, didn't they? Those damn Gideons." Like that that made me chuckle a little bit.
It was funny, but it was also like there's so much wrong with this scene.
There's so much it's wrong, it's weird, but it did make me, because it's just kind of unexpected. But I think really, if I were to say that if there was one line, it was really hard to find one. If there was one line that was like, I think this is my favorite, is at the end when Luther says, "Man, I don't know, I'm gonna miss being disreputable," and Ethan says, "Well, Luther, if it makes you feel any better, I'll always think of you that way."
Yeah, that was
just kind of like,
that was a good one.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best dialogue in the whole movie.
This reminded me of something I like least about the film. So backtracking a little bit, Kittredge. friggin' hate that guy. He was a terrible character. He was a terrible boss. He's not good at his job. Everything he does is wrong.
Yeah.
Also, his power makes no sense. He's in charge of the...
Yeah, I called him director of the IMF, but I don't know. Like,
but then suddenly he threw a CIA agent to Alaska or something like that.
Yeah, it's never very clear who he actually...
Yeah, and the whole time he plays the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's the good guy, like if he's actually just like the director or whatever, he shouldn't be played that way. I understand it's like, this is how we're going to do this, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and they do his character type better in future movies.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll get there when we get there.
Yes. The other directors, much better. Despite him as a person, Alec Baldwin
situations
does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But we'll get there when we get there. Either way, God, friggin' hate that guy. Every time he was on screen, I was just like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch it. Like, I'm sure he's a good actor. They made him be unbearable.
Yeah.
Anyway, alrighty. I think quotes, anything Luther said, I was fine with. And now it's time for the review rewind. I feel like the music makes me change my tone. We take a look at a positive review and a negative review, and we see where we fall. This is, they labeled it as mixed, but it seems like overwhelmingly it was like meh. So Metacritic has it at 59%. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 66%. Rotten Tomato audience has it at 71%, and IMDb has it at 7.2%. I went ahead. So I will say, well, I'll talk about it when we get there. Tristan, why don't you go ahead and read the positive review?
All right. We've got a 100 from the Tampa Bay Times. Stealth is a key element of tension, and even though De Palma tosses his share of fireballs around, Mission Impossible gets edgier when it gets quieter. The audience is wrapped in emphatic silence while Hunt hangs there in peril, proves how well the director does it. I mean,
I kind of agree.
That scene specifically.
But I don't overly agree with the rating and the particulars for the whole film. Like, I don't think that encompasses the whole film. I think there are scenes that are absolutely that way, where they feel so tense that, like, if you do anything, you feel like you're going to make it go off.
Yeah.
Which...
like, we have to be quiet so we don't set off the sensors.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And there were moments like that where it felt that way. And that was great. I don't think that is true of the whole film.
Right.
Not just that, like, we're breathed with silence and all of that, but that same amount of quality, excellent quality, goes throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
Alrighty. I am doing a Orlando Sentinel review, which is at 50. This was not the worst review. It did get a couple 30s, but those were, I think one of them was just, it's bad.
Very helpful.
Yeah. So this one was kind of one of the more longer responses, but it is a 50. And although the film is watchable and at times even borderline entertaining, it has its share of problems. Mainly, the filmmakers seem to have trouble deciding just what kind of movie they are making. I agree. I don't agree with the score, but I think that's true. Like, there are definitely parts in this movie where it's like, so I was looking at, the development things, and so Tom Cruise was in charge of Tom Cruise did his own stunts, and it seems like he had a hand in a lot of what they were doing. So he chose, so apparently he wanted to do, which one is it? He wanted to use France's high-speed train for filming. The rail authorities said no. And so De Palma visited a bunch of railroads in 2 continents to try to find a good location. And while he's doing that, Cruise goes to dinner with the owners of the railway, and the next day they get approved. So Cruise had a lot of power within this. And right. I just feel like, his Scientology aside, like, he seems like a piece of shit. Like, I'm not gonna try to like, I never want to meet him as like human to human. If I see him in person, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's Tom Cruise, cool. But I would never want to be with him human to human, like trying to get to know him, because it seems like he's crazy, especially with his religious views. That aside, it also seems like he is one of the most charming people when he needs to be.
Yeah.
And he was putting that on full display in this production, apparently, because there were a lot of things that were just like his way of doing it. And so on that train scene, they filmed a lot of the exterior stuff of the train and all that stuff using that particular rail, but everything else was done in Glasgow Southwestern Line, and then at a studio at the 007 Pinewood stage. And this is the craziest thing. He wanted the wind to be a particular way. And he realized at some point, he was like, oh, the way I want it to feel is like when I was doing skydiving training with those fans that like blow you up in the air.
Right.
But at the time this movie was getting made, there was like one in Europe. And he somehow located it and got it.
Whoa.
So they used that. Apparently it went up to 140 miles an hour. So that's why his face gets like screwed around a lot. And then the blue screen and a lot of the digital effects were ILM. So I was noticing, I will say, like, I'll give it credit, some of the CGI wasn't bad.
Yeah.
The train, like, there was never a point where I was like, oh, this looks so fake. Because I think they did a good mix of like practical effects and stuff like that. But
yeah,
the actual train going through the tunnel and everything like that, it looked pretty good. I'll give them credit where credit is due. It looked pretty good. But with that being said, some interesting things toward the end of this, which I think give it a little bit of credit where credit is due. They delivered the film on time and under budget.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I also have it here. Initially, there was a sophisticated opening sequence that introduced the love triangle between Phelps, Claire, and Hunt. But it was removed. Oh, this is where it's interesting. Here you go. It was removed on the advice of George Lucas. Because De Palma and Lucas are BFFs.
Uh-huh.
Because it took the test audience out of the genre, according to De Palma. And then there's some other stuff about other things. But it's so interesting that while De Palma was the director, Cruise seemed to have like a lot of say. And I know that's like a producer thing. Like I know that happens, but this was his first one. And now seeing the commercials and the behind the scenes things for the more recent movies, it's like, oh, he was crazy the whole time. Like back in the 90s, he was, doing his own stunts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, all that said, where do you think you fall?
So when I first wrote down my grade, my score for this, I was feeling one way, and then I didn't change what I wrote down. So at first I was like, "Oh, that was a fun movie. I'll give it a B." But then like the more I started thinking about it, I was like, "Wait, there's a lot about this movie that like really doesn't make sense." So I think if we're considering it from it's just a fun action movie, it's a B. From a like actually looking at the movie for the substance that's within it, I'm feeling a little bit more in the C range.
Yeah. Yeah. I give it a C minus. The minus is mostly because like there's a lot of stuff like if they would have added the stuff that they cut, the movie would have been too long and they would have gotten points deducted for that.
Mm-hmm.
The things they cut made the movie not make sense in certain parts.
Right.
So that feels like that deducts what it could have been. And then overall, that first hour, like the pacing, everything that's happening is just like, it's not that great. After, Luther and Jean, I know that's not his name in the movie, but that's all I'm going to remember. Join the fight. It really picks up and it's good. Like you were saying, like I think from that point on, it probably would have been like a B.
Right.
But because it's all connected, I think a C minus. And that's where I'll sit, C minus. They tried. They got some things right, but overall it's like it's I would always this is how I would qualify this movie with that kind of grade. If you're going to get into a series, watch it. Watch this one. Like if you're going to watch Mission Impossible. Oh, I burped, sorry. I'm so bad at this. If you're going to watch the Mission Impossible series, you should watch this one. It's worth watching just to establish Ethan's history throughout it. Because if you start on the second one, the start of it isn't going to necessarily make sense. And some of the tension in the movie isn't going to make sense. If you start on the third one without watching the other two, even though I'm going to make a guess that we're not going to rate the second one that great. If you start on the third one, there's still a lot of backstory that makes the third one not make sense. Like the third one really builds on what has already occurred.
Right.
And that's true of almost all of them. They really build on everything else. I think once you get to the fourth and beyond, it's a little muddled. You could probably get away with it, but I think for the whole scope of it to really appreciate everything, you should start on the first one. I don't say that for every series,
Right.
Like if you were going to watch Fast and Furious, I would say start on the fourth one and never look back. But
fair enough.
That is just my uneducated opinion. I don't know why I said that. I am educated. Maybe not educated in movie stuff. Yeah. So I think my recommendation would be like, watch it. You might enjoy it more than we did. But I think it's worth watching, especially if you're trying to watch the whole series.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a movie worth watching. And the reality is, if you have no connection to the original series, the things that we talked about that do connect it to that are like irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you thought that this was the first ever Mission Impossible,
right,
then it's fine. Like there's still going to be some things where it's like that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have the weight of being disrespectful to what came before.
Right. Which that's how I felt in some of the other viewings I watched of this. I didn't watch the original show. That I missed that completely. And I didn't know the gravity of who Jim Phelps was
Yeah.
to the story. So, like, it just felt like it was a veteran guy who, you know, whatever.
Right.
Now, being older and knowing a little more of the past, then it was like, oh, that is weird. Like, it does kind of take you out of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you've never watched the original show, it's not going to matter, the Jim Phelps part. Other than, I mean,
you don't have to watch the show to enjoy the movies.
Right. Not at all. Unless you like Jon Voight, then, I mean, you might like his character, but not a fan.
Yikes.
Yikes. Alrighty. Anything else to add, sir?
I don't think so.
All right. Well,
I think we did it.
This has been Review Rewind. You can follow us on all the social media, and we'll go ahead and watch number 2 for the next one. And
you can do it.
I should really write this down, you know.
Oh.
It feels like it's the same thing every time. But for you, the audience, keep rewinding those, review those rewinds, and we'll see you next time. I had it. All right, bye.
Bye.